Few of the Chinese villagers had seen a Mongol warrior before. And few of the Mongols would have journeyed this far into China. It was the clash of two alien cultures. There was only one certainty: the Chinese would never forget them. The Mongols plundered without mercy, and from each conquest, Genghis Khan took his own reward.
The greatest fortune a man can have is to conquer his enemy, steal his riches, ride his horses, and enjoy his women.
Further east lay an even greater prize. With a population of 350,000, 13th century Beijing was one of the most sophisticated cities on Earth. Capital of the northern Chinese Empire, famous for its grand palaces, gilded temples, and markets overflowing with silks and spices. In his quest to take these riches for himself, Genghis Khan faced one huge problem. Standing between him and the conquest of the city was a wall. "40 feet high and 10 miles long. To a nomadic army used to fighting on the open steppes, these fortifications appeared impregnable.
I'd trained my men to attack with the speed of the wind. Now they had to learn the guile of the wolf.
His first tactic was straightforward. He waited. The Mongols set up camp outside the city and stopped supplies from getting in. From Chinese engineers who had defected, his generals learned to build catapults and battering rams, the tools of siege warfare. The Mongols were in no hurry. They feasted on the supplies they captured. Genghis Khan turned Beijing into a prison. Within the walls, thousands starved to death. The survivors resorted to cannibalism. Finally, Genghis Khan's army was ready to attack.
All who surrender would be spared. Those who did not surrender, but opposed with struggle and dissension, would be annihilated.
Despite enduring months of starvation, the commander of the Chinese army still controlled a formidable garrison with a powerful array of weapons. Genghis Khan knew that few of the first wave would survive. So he forced captured enemy prisoners to wield the siege engines forward. said that each of his own warriors was given a silk shirt. If the arrow penetrated the body, it took the silk with it, making it easier to draw the arrow out and minimizing the wound. But despite the Mongols' attempts to master siege warfare, the Chinese were still much more advanced. They responded by filling huge clay pots with crude oil, molten metal, chemicals, and excrement. Despite the ferocious bombardment, Genghis Khan ordered his men to advance to the walls. As the city fell, the Chinese commander had just one option. Genghis Khan was so confident of victory that he left his army to capture the city. The final command to his generals was to order total annihilation. For 1 month, his army plundered, burned, and raped. A year later, visiting foreign ambassadors described the streets as slippery with human fat. They also recorded that beyond the walls stood an entire mountain of bones. Genghis Khan's fearsome reputation grew from the destruction and carnage he practiced in Beijing. But what he now created